Picture this, folks. The hallowed Oval Office, a room that's seen its fair share of serious global discussions. But on May 21, 2025, it transformed into something more akin to a daytime talk show with a very specific, very dramatic agenda. Our main players? None other than former US President Donald Trump, never one to shy away from the spotlight, and South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, perhaps bracing himself for, well, anything. The air was thick with anticipation, and you just knew this wasn't going to be your standard diplomatic handshake and photo op. It was set up for a performance, a real production, and the world was watching, popcorn arguably in hand, wondering what exactly was about to go down in Washington, D.C. Now, this wasn't just a two-man show. Oh no, the guest list for this particular diplomatic tete-a-tete was something else entirely. Almost like a casting call for a reality TV series, you had tech billionaire Elon Musk, perhaps there to discuss Mars or maybe just curious about earthly drama. Then came South African golf legends Ernie Els, a known buddy of Trump, and Retief Goosen. Were they there for moral support or to offer pudding tips? South Africa's richest man, Johan Rupert, also made an appearance, alongside U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. And representing South Africa further was Agriculture Minister John Steenhuisen. Quite the eclectic mix, wouldn't you say, for a meeting supposedly about international relations? Of course, this meeting didn't just spring out of a perfectly calm diplomatic sea. The waters had been choppy for a while. Just a week before this Oval Office opera, the U.S. had granted asylum to nearly 60 Afrikaners, a move that certainly raised eyebrows and tensions with Pretoria. It was part of a policy that saw individuals like Charles Kleinhaus receive refugee status, a decision criticized by other refugee groups as somewhat selective. Then, back in March 2025, South Africa's ambassador to Washington was actually expelled after accusing Trump of, and get this, promoting white victimhood. So, you see, the stage was already well and truly set for a bit of a confrontation, or at least a very awkward conversation. And let's not forget the simmering economic undercurrents, because money talk always adds a little spice, doesn't it? There was the looming threat of a potential 30% U.S. tariff on South African products, currently on a 90-day pause, set to expire in July 2025. This wasn't small change. It threatened around 400,000 jobs in South Africa, with citrus fruit exports alone worth about $100 million in 2024. Meanwhile, South Africa had its own controversial Land Expropriation Act, signed into law by Ramaphosa in January 2025, allowing land seizure without compensation under certain conditions, though no land had yet been taken. So, layers upon layers of complexity before the first video even rolled.